What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Shop Talk Tuesday. Now, if you're new to this video series, what this is all about is a commentary-based type thing where I pretty much talk the whole entire time. Hence the name Shop Talk Tuesday. Now, it's about relevant topics to knife making and making things in general. A lot of the topics are brought up in the YouTube comment section, my TRE workshop Facebook page, or my email from people asking me questions. And that's pretty much what brings up the topics for all of these things. Now, we do that part, then we go into what I have working in the background that's going to be making it into the videos, and maybe what's not going to be making it into the videos. Plus, we go into a viewer's knife section where I show off one of your knives. Now, let's hop into the topic for today. Now, the topic for all of this is templates. Now, I've talked about templates in a few videos in the past, and this is going to be a different part of that. So in the previous videos, what I've talked about is when people ask me, hey, can you send me one of your templates or one of your knife shapes so that I can make that? And I've told them, I'm not really into that, partially because I don't put them on a computer format at all. My templates are right here and drawn in books like this. So I don't really do the whole computer thing with my templates. I think that it's awesome if you do that, and being able to print them off multiple times, I think it's awesome. There's awesome softwares. Plenty of people talk about the softwares that you can download to be able to make your knife templates that way. I don't do that. I draw all of them and then I put them on wood. Now, I don't really send them to people because I don't want you making my knives. I want you to make your knives. I want you to create, imagine something in your head and then make that thing. That's the whole point of all of this. As a creator, you make what you think about, and there you go. It doesn't help you if you're making a whole bunch of Eric Rivers stuff. Now, when it comes to the topic for today, it is why I make templates and why I think that you should do that instead of just drawing them out or just putting them on a computer program and then printing them out and then putting them on steel and cutting out your steel and just winging it. The reason why I say this is because some things look amazing whenever they're in 2D. So like this right here. I really like this design. I drew this out. Had a good idea of how it was going to fit in my hand. I made sure that my hand was, part of the design process in this. And on paper, it looks like it would work. But as soon as you actually put it in your hand, you realize the handle's a little bit too short. You realize you get a crazy hot spot right here where there would be a finger choil and it kind of pulls in. I wasn't exactly meaning for this to be a real big finger choil. But in my head, and whenever I drew it, I was like, this is going to look really cool. So whenever I put it on actual three-dimensional material, I realized, okay, this isn't going to work. A few things are going to need to be changed. And that is why I suggest you make templates out of something that has a thicker shape to it or a thicker dimension to it. Now, this knife right here has almost the same exact blade. Actually, it's pretty much perfect right on there. But the handle, you can see a lot needed to be changed to make it ergonomically correct. Now, I think that it is awesome for you to draw things out. But I think you should always put it on material so that you can actually feel that shape. Now, I'm going to hit on a couple of things on why I do this. The big reason is going to be ergonomics. I tell you all about ergonomics all the time because it's a real thing. Ergonomics is going to be what helps your knife index properly. If you've watched any show where they have to swing the knife, they're going to talk about indexing. Your knife needs to feel the right way to cut with. So if you pick up a knife, you got something in your eye you can't see, and you need to cut through a seat belt or cut through a bush or something like that, if your knife feels comfortable like this, you're going to be smacking it with the dull section. If it feels comfortable like this, you're going to feel a whole lot of resistance whenever you're chopping through things. But if it feels great like this, you're going to cut the right way. So a lot of that is about ergonomics and how you're going to shape your handle. But it's not just about how it's going to index, it's also going to be hot points. So whenever I had this section right here on the drawing, it looked really cool, but whenever I went to put my hand around the actual material, I figured out that it was not comfortable right there, so I had to redesign it a little bit. And that is the whole point behind this. It's going to be another thing that I'm going to talk about with this template here in just a minute. But I want y'all to understand that whenever I say you need to put the knife in your hand over and over and over again to make sure that everything's where it needs to be so that you're not getting hot spots and that the ergonomics are correct, because I'm going to say it, and I always say it, if your knife is uncomfortable, it can be the most beautiful knife ever. But if it is uncomfortable, people will not use it. If you go to swing that into something and it hurts your hand, people are not going to use it. You could take a $1,000 knife that looks awesome, put an uncomfortable handle on it, and people will use the $50 knife that has the comfortable handle over that $1,000 knife. All because of comfort. So make sure that your handle is comfortable. And that is why I do this. Now, one of the other things that I do when it comes to the templates, practicing bevels. So this right here has a pretty complicated bevel setup because of how everything is shaped right here. And then of course we have a false edge, and I want the bevels to go all the way up to the false edge. So trying to get everything where I want it, keep this nice and round plunge line. It helped to be able to take this material and do that because the steel that I'm going to use for this is 1/4 of an inch thick. It's going to be very thick steel, I know, but I want everything to stand out super insane. So I want that thickness so that this ridge right here looks absolutely insane. Whenever you're looking at it, it's super dynamic. So we're going to use a thick steel for that. This is going to be made out of 80 CRB2. I originally was going to make this knife out of the Damascus that we're going to be making, and we'll talk about that more in a minute, but yeah, that's not going to happen. And I'll talk about that when we talk about the stuff that's coming up. Now, when it comes to the templates, you don't have to get something crazy. This is just 1/4 inch material that you can get from Lowe's or any hardware store that sells wood. Put your, drawings on there, cut them out, put them in your hand, make sure everything's comfortable. I've needed to do this on a few of my knives, so I'm going to go ahead and end up cutting out a bunch of these this week, and this is probably going to double in size right here with the templates, but it's time to go ahead and do that, and I need to get some of my pieces off of just the paper. Now, this looks really cool, but as soon as this gets wet, it's useless. You don't really have to worry about that on these right here. You can still use these over and over again. Now, when it comes to drawing them, like, I use my templates all the time as outlines, so as stencils. I know that all these handles are comfortable, so if I want to take aspects of one handle, combine it with another one to get something really cool like this handle that's right here, I'm going to use this on a few different ones because I think that that's absolutely beautiful. But that right there, I'll take the handles that I like, put them together, make a handle that I know is going to be comfortable, and then I'll draw the blade after that. So those come in handy. I use those as stencils a ton. So there you go. That is why I suggest making templates on wood, not just in your binder, not just on your paper. And if you're going to print something out off of online, I always suggest, again, put it on some thicker material so that you can use it later. You don't have to keep printing pieces of paper over and over and over again and wasting trees. That's one tree. Just use that. Now, that's pretty much the end of the discussion part of this, and hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully it does make sense now why I have all of those and why I put the material, the templates on here, and then cut these out, and I can use them from whenever after that. But being able to do all of that stuff is a lot easier than doing it on the steel and ruining a piece of steel. This is very cheap. These pieces of wood are very cheap and a lot less expensive than steel. So great practice material and things like that for bevels. Now, when it comes to the stuff that's coming up, of course, this will end up coming up. Again, like I said, I was thinking about making this knife out of the Damascus originally, and then I ended up making the other kukri, and I was like, man, I don't need to make two kukris back to back. So I drew up a different knife. We're going to end up using that, and I'll show y'all that when we actually start that video series. But this would have looked beautiful in Damascus, but instead we'll just be using 80 CRB2. I know, right? Just 80 CRB2, 1/4 inch thick stuff. It's going to look beautiful. Now, I'm excited about this one. This is going to be an EDC that I wanted for a while, and I've done a lot of research trying to find EDC kukris, and I haven't been able to find them in the designs that I like, so I just made my own design. That is this guy right here. So this is going to be an awesome build, and I'm excited about y'all seeing that whenever I actually get into that. Now, of course, we do have the material for the Damascus. So this right here, 1095. The other side is 15N20. I know this looks like it says it's 15N8, but that is just their like stock number. That's just the code for this particular piece of steel, but it is 15N20. I'm going to be making that here soon, so we'll have that build coming on. I'm going to hand forge it all, so there's not going to be any press or anything like that. I'm going to hand forge the Damascus. It's not going to be a crazy high layer count Damascus, because me personally, I like the low layer count Damascus. I think it looks really nice and super contrasting, so we're going to be doing that. Now, when it comes to the next part of this, which is the viewer's knife section, I'm going to hit on a few things going into that. So this viewer, he repurposed a knife, which I think is absolutely awesome. Whenever I made my first, if you want to call them first two knives, they were repurposed steak knives. So they were, I say steak knives, they were chef's knives that I had, that the handles were falling off of, that we'd had for a long time, and I completely reprofiled them, redid the handles on them, and made new knives out of them. I suggest people doing stuff like that, and I'm going to hit on that here in a minute, but I just think it's awesome that he decided, I'm going to go ahead and make a knife out of this broken knife. And Mike, you did a good job. We're going to go ahead, we're going to cut away so y'all can see the full screen and then talk about it while you're looking at that, but let's cut away now. So this knife is by Mike McDonald. It is a repurposed broken survival knife that's made out of 440 stainless steel. It has a 7-inch overall length with a 3.5-inch blade and ash handle scales. Now this has the first sheath that he's ever made, and I think that the overall package turned out real nice, and I'm hoping that my first sheath that I make out of leather like that turns out just the same. Now Mike, I feel like you did an amazing job on that knife, and I think that a lot of people should try their hand at just repurposing a knife that they currently have. If you don't feel comfortable buying the steel to go ahead and make a knife out of, use one of the ones you already have. Use a butter knife, use a steak knife that you have, use a survival knife that you have. Learn how to do the stuff on the knives you already own, and it's a lot less expensive. There's not really any, purchase price involved in that because you already have the stuff. So I think that's pretty awesome. And again, I think everybody should try that. Now guys, y'all tell Mike what y'all thought about his knife in the comment section below. Also, if you've repurposed a knife like that, I want to hear about it in the comment section below as well. Now guys, if you haven't yet, send me pictures of your knives. I don't care if it's your first, 5th, or 50th knife. I would love to see it, and I know everybody else would as well. But guys, that's pretty much the end of this video. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other build videos that I've done. Guys, if you haven't yet, bottom corner, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you get notified of all the awesome stuff that we have that's coming up, because we have a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, you don't want to miss the Damascus, right? My first ever try at Damascus. You don't want to miss that. So guys, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for spending your time with me. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. I'll catch y'all next time.